Oh my god, it has been a while since I've made one of these. There's been a lot of stuff going on, and I've had a lot of kind of deplorable people paint me as a villain. For those of you uninformed, AntherCon happened 2 months ago, to which I was there. And after AntherCon, my roommates accused me of some really awful stuff. Almost all of which is extreme exaggeration and just genuinely dishonest points, or just stuff that is almost completely irrelevant to the actual serious allegations against me. And I've been genuinely slandered, and I know it's taken me a long time to respond since I've just been in a mental crisis, and it probably wouldn't have been a good idea to respond yet. If you look at the allegations, there's genuinely nothing behind them. So I'm going to start out by showing you how dishonest and scummy these people are by their own accord, and I'm going to show you how little there is to these allegations and how manipulative these people really are. After that, I'm going to go point by point and just explain, what actually happened. The first part is going to be an interview, which consisted of three of the people most involved in heavily defending Benny's false accusations, Jam, Otta, and Jam's boyfriend Honk, who originally wasn't going to be in the call but requested to be added. Keep that in mind as well. It also had me, of course, yours truly, as well as fellow commentary YouTuber Labrat, my editor Jerry, and drama person on Twitter Pobs. Now, while Lab and Jerry sided with me, Pobs was leaning more neutral at the time of this call. When I messaged Pobs about saying they were neutral in the call but weren't afterwards and leaned towards my side, Pobs directly said, yeah, that's exactly what happened. Now, the full call will be linked in the description as it was uploaded to Pobs' channel, but to give you an example of what happened in this call, at 4:30 into the video, my editor asked me how many people told me it was an SA.
You defending this guy is if you were lied to.
Yo, Wolf, how many separate opinions have you gotten that agreed with you?
Fuck, dude, I don't even know.
To which Otta responded,
and how many of them were kind of in the Airbnb with you?
Then at 5:11, I asked Otta,
what I was gonna say was, were you in the Airbnb when it happened?
There's someone in the call who was. Hi, Jake.
Jake, of course, being Jam. And then not 30 seconds later, I asked Jam if he was there, and he says he doesn't actually know, but he was told by Benny he was and just went along with it.
Jam, you said the first.
I know, that's why we're all here, Pops. That's kind of why I'm
here.
Shut up, let Wolfgang speak.
Yeah, let me speak. Jam, did you or did you not say in the first call you don't actually know if you were there? You were just told Benny, said you were.
I was told by Benny that they were looking over at me because they were very uncomfortable with what's going on.
You don't know if you were.
So were you there or not?
I don't know if I don't know. As I said,
I will say.
At 13:30, downplaying what sexual assault is to make it fit what I did.
Okay. It's not okay. If somebody's uncomfortable, you're taking the term sexual assault and turning it into like saying that it's rape or something. This is something that I was speaking to about with I'm not going to disclose their name, but I was talking to them about this, and they were comparing sexual assault to rape. And I think that that's an insane claim. I think that sexual assault is something that sounds very jarring, but in reality, it isn't as bad as the name really sets it to be. I don't think sexual assault is
bad.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that I don't think that sexual assault.
Let me cut you off.
I don't, because you're making it out to be as if.
At 21 minutes, they admit that Benny's initial claim was rape, even though the four of them this whole time have said none of them claimed it was rape.
why are there so many people here?
Oh yeah, because we are defending a fucking friend who was called a rapist.
Yeah, and we're defending a friend who
has been
said they
threatened
raped.
with violence.
Yeah.
Has been.
At 32 minutes, they send a screenshot of why Benny didn't go to the police, citing that I had already lost friends and followers and that they wouldn't get anything from it.
Oh, Jerry, I want to know what happened. Why aren't they pursuing me legally?
Because they don't need to.
Oh wait, no, I have a
What do you
screenshot
mean
of
they
exact
don't
of
need to?
Benny.
Why?
I actually have the screenshot of Benny's exact words here.
If they don't want to, they don't need to.
Here is.
Okay, let's read it. Let's read it. But I don't think I would go with Ethan pursuing it. He's fucked up enough to lose friends and followers. I just don't want to. Wait, hold on. He's fucked up enough to lose friends and followers, and I just want to not think about that anymore. Why was friends and followers brought into this?
At 49:50, they said they had proof. I was told it was a sex club, which was never provided. Then said they told me it was a bathhouse, so I should have just assumed so.
Kinsford was the second day. That was when I was brought to the sex club without being told. By the way.
Okay, well, first of all, we did tell you. We did tell you.
First of all, and there is video, and there is proof of you acknowledging that you acknowledged.
Can we see that proof, please?
Can
we see
the proof?
Yeah, I love that proof.
Oh, one of us have it.
Because I also have fucking.
One of us have it.
Saying,
Yeah.
oh, they told me it was a nudity club, not a sex club. Big difference.
We said, okay, you said we said it was a furry bathhouse. Yes. Is it a sex thing? We said it's a furry bathhouse. Of course, it's a sex thing.
Can we see
That
this
was
blog?
said.
No, because
No, this is
okay,
let me
speak. Let me speak. Here's what happened. We left the con to go to the Airbnb. We watched 2 episodes of South Park, and I played a level of Hotline Miami. I can name the exact fucking episodes and level in Hotline Miami. They told me there was a bath floor, and there was a floor for sex, for beds. Okay? And then when we get to the con, we tell you guys where we're going, and then we go there.
Okay.
And then it's
So
fucking bears pounding twinks.
So let me explain this real quick. Okay. Okay. That literally proves nothing. That doesn't prove at all.
Yeah, that does
I'm
not
just trying to
prove
establish the
anything.
timeline. I'm just trying to establish.
Well, your
I'm just
logic,
saying,
you could have left the bathhouse.
I'm saying right now, if that's proof of me knowing it's like a sex club, that is the
Wait,
weakest
question.
shit.
No, that just adds more context. I'm still okay.
Okay, alright, I'm just saying.
Okay.
And then I just wanted to. Oh, all right, yeah.
At an hour 35, Otta asked for proof on a point that was in Benny's thread.
They talked about gay club with free alcohol, and I said, "Can I come?" And Benny went, "Sure." That's not an invite. That's not me going. Inviting myself would be like, "I'm coming with." That was me asking if I could go with. Benny had all the power to say I couldn't go to the club with them, and they actively didn't.
Is there proof of that?
By the way.
There
That
is
is
yes. That's what Benny admitted on the last.
That is
interview.
Benny's statement, Otta.
At an hour 7 and 38, Otta and Co admitted to planning to drop me, but still acting friendly in DMs.
Was from Wolfgang. We, with this entire situation, we were just planning on dropping Wolfgang. He's not entitled to our friendship, and he's not entitled to hear about the events that Benny had. Because at the end of the day, Benny was keeping it all private. The only group I knew was just this little group.
At an hour 13, 44 seconds, Otta says all the harassment I got was my fault.
And everything, and all that harassment that Wolfgang was getting was, I will say, in my opinion, was because of his own.
But the
Was basically and let me talk, Wolfgang. Everything was in Camp Jam. Nothing made it outside of that. Lab brought up that screenshot with Tosh. We hung out with Tosh like once at Anthrocon, so he was involved. And Benny is.
No.
Okay, no, let me keep speaking. I would appreciate.
Drinking containment.
Let Otta make.
Tosh, can you give me
Like someone me and Benny personally spent a lot of time.
It
with
was
them,
was
along
it night
with other
one
people
whenever
involved.
Tosh was somehow involved in this?
I will also
I
add.
don't think Tosh has anything to do with this besides just
yes,
that one.
Lab, I do want to hear that.
I was gonna say I will actually add on to this with how the fandom works in general. With someone being told in DMs, I know for a fact that that was shared. It's like a disease. It has an R naught, which is the rate of reproduction per person.
Yeah,
That
I didn't even think y'all
that-
knew about that Vexium shit. I thought that shit was private, and I come in here.
Yeah,
and
no,
y'all know. That's what I mean.
That's the thing. See, it gets around. No matter what, who you tell, you tell them don't tell anyone. Everyone just goes here, don't tell anyone, and tells the information. That person goes to the next person, and it spreads like whispers.
Yeah, and I guess really all we can say in response to that is that we really weren't trying to do anything with that. We can get vouchers from literally everybody.
I even have a tweet
but-
up that's.
At an hour 16, 19, Otta admits to micromanaging me.
We're kind of trying to tell Wolfgang what to do.
And
when Benny was receiving harassment, right? You told Wolfgang, hey, you should take this down, you should do this, the other thing, and that's fine, right? But none of that was done to Benny, right? It wasn't at Benny's request. It wasn't because Benny said anything. It was you making the decision to tell Wolfgang how to manage the situation, right?
Well, I guess with the thread, I will agree with you on the micromanaging, because I guess my mentality with it is if Wolfgang said one thing wrong, this shit is gonna be stretched out another week by people on Twitter, and it is the last thing I want. It's the last thing I want. It's the last thing Wolfgang wants. It's stupid.
At an hour 46:30, Jam says he's going to really try to get Benny to take down the thread, and then saying, I will 100% support it. I will retweet it if you need me to. Again, I will support it as long as everything is accurate. I'm planning to get Benny to take down the thread.
And that's why we just wanted this to be over with. I'm gonna try and get Benny to really take down that thread.
Over with until like
Yeah.
the truth is out there. That's what the point is.
Make your tweet, defend yourself, all that. I will 100% support it. I will retweet it if you need me to.
The video. The video.
Okay.
Well, yeah.
Again, I will support it as long as this is accurate.
I'm down to
I'm
work.
trying to get Benny to take down the thread because I think that's what we all want. That's
At 2 hours, 4 minutes, and 7 seconds, They agree to having gaslit and manipulated me, but claims it was accidental.
Stress Benny out to become suicidal, right? I'm saying from behind the scenes, it is a fact Wolfgang was suicidal. That is a fact.
That
Yeah,
here's another thing. I don't that me I reiterated what Oda said. The thing about the gaslighting is crazy. I reiterated what Oda said, and I will take accountability for what I said because I shouldn't have reiterated what she said. But that is my fault. But it was mostly coming out of a place of anger, and I do admit that is wrong, and I take.
No, the
things
main
It's just
like
that
that
that was
seriously.
like the first thing guns ablazing, like the first
think-
sentence to try to like get the.
Y'all totally, like, as far as that situation, though, y'all were totally gaslighting with that statement, factually. Because the difference is y'all were speculating what might happen to Benny, right? Y'all were speculating.
Not intentionally, but I do agree. Yes, you.
And my favorite one, at an hour, 16 and 41 seconds, Oda admits she wanted to control exactly what I said.
So yeah, I will say, I do apologize for being micromanaging. It's more or less not that I wanted to control what he said. More or less, I wanted to. Actually, no, it was that, and just not wanting to stretch this out any longer than it wanted to be. So I guess I kind of imposed a lot of my own views on him. As much as I don't agree with a lot of the stuff, I did impose, just to try to get this situation over, just so none of us would have to hear about it.
Sorry,
Like I said, these are just a few of the points of note from that 2.5-hour long call. If you would like to watch it in full, you can find the link to it in the description, and I highly encourage you to watch the full thing. Now, getting into the actual allegations, where this all started was on the first day. Benny was on his phone, and I saw he was on Bark. I asked why he was on there, to which Benny said they were looking to hook up. I suggested me and Benny could hook up, and Benny said they would be down. Now, in response, I rubbed their knee. Benny's now claiming that's sexual assault. Now, the only way that could be possible is if Benny expressed they were uncomfortable or told me to stop or anything. Yet Benny did absolutely nothing, and as later shown, only tried to get closer to me the following days of HitherCon. Now, another reason Benny likes to claim this is sexual assault is because another person, Jam, claims they were at the Airbnb and was sitting on the couch when this happened. But like everything else, this is debunked. And even giving them the benefit of the doubt, and like despite knowing this isn't true at all, Jam wasn't there, how does that make it sexual assault? Nothing about this situation is sexual assault, and to claim it is just disingenuous to actual victims of sexual assault. Now, I don't think I need to explain to you that touching someone's knee after they said they wanted to have sex with you isn't sexual assault at all, and yeah, to even try to claim it is stupid. It's also very proven in the DMs that Benny did want to hook up, but that the only reason we couldn't was because Jam was coming back tonight. But that's, for some reason, left out of everyone's retelling of the events. There are people literally right now who think me touching someone's knee after they said they wanted to have sex with me is sexual assault. Some people even call it rape. What? Like, I can't explain to you why this is wrong. I shouldn't have to. You should... And it sucks that I'm in a community where I have to explain that's not what it is at all. That's not what sexual assault is. Now, day 2 of the con, I spent all day hanging out with Benny, who apparently the day before thought I sexually assaulted them. And, despite thinking I did something absolutely abhorrent to them the day before, they were now totally fine with us hanging out, taking photos together. And even in some of the photos, you can see me carrying Benny's backpack because it was too heavy for them. A little while later, Benny introduced me to their friends Casey and Tyler. And while we sat down eating ramen noodles, they discussed going to a gay club that people underage could get alcohol pretty easily at. I was told by Benny I could tag along. Now, Benny claimed in their thread that I was forcing my way into these events, but when Crystal tries to get in, she's shut down immediately. And yet, for some reason, when I ask to join, they don't have the ability to tell me no. Now, on the way back from the convention, I put my hand next to Benny's and asked him if he wanted to hold hands, to which he pulled his hand back and texted me saying he wasn't good with physical affection, but was good for casual hookup, which is proven in the text, and is vastly different than the story Benny made, where they claimed I grabbed their hand and they had to fight me off. Now, once we were back at the Airbnb, we chilled for a bit. I played Hotline Miami and watched some South Park as Casey and Benny did each other's makeup. Now, I asked the two of them about the club, and was told it was a bar/bathhouse. Then, when asking further, I was told it had a second floor with bedrooms for sex and a bathhouse on the third floor. I was told there was nudity on those 2 floors, but when asking about anything else, I was told the rest of the club would be fine. It's important to keep that in your heads. We then went back to the con and met up with Otta, Jam, and Crystal and told them we were going to a gay club. Me, Benny, and Casey then got in line for the club. After a while of waiting, Casey's boyfriend Tyler came out and stayed with us. Then one of the employees came over and we checked in digitally, telling us to come back when we were first in queue. Casey and Tyler went off, while Benny and I went out to get dinner together. Yeah, that's right. This guy took me to dinner and paid for it. Oh, what? Call me crazy. If someone sexually assaulted you, you're not taking them to dinner, let alone paying for it. Now, after our queue was up and we went to the club, on the way in I noticed a few sus-ass stickers, but, I brushed it off because it's a fucking gay club, I don't know. Then as I looked into the door, I saw a bunch of people in pup masks and jockstraps. Once again, it's a gay club. That's probably normal. Then we got inside and I immediately saw people walking around naked and a big orgy pile. Now, I went to the roof assuming nothing would be happening up there because why would there be? We literally joked that people are going to probably be fully clothed up on the roof because, a businessman could look through a telescope and see them. That's in the messages multiple times. When I went to the roof, I found a guy getting fucked doggy style on the DJ table. I asked Benny if they would like to go somewhere, and they said not right now. Then Tyler, Casey's boyfriend, gave me a can of Twisted Tea, and I got really drunk really fast, stumbling around and laughing at people in the club. I eventually threw up, and the three of them brought me to a couch so I could sit down while they get me an Uber. Now, while sitting on the couch, I asked Benny to sit next to me. I put my arm around them, and they leaned into my chest. I asked them if we could make out, and they said, no, you just threw up. And I said, oh, okay. When the Uber arrived, I went to go in, and Benny said, don't tell Otter or Jam about any of this. I got back to the Airbnb and threw up some more while Benny stayed the night with Casey and Tyler. That was essentially the end of the second day. Now some keynotes. First thing is Benny invited me to all this stuff and hung out with me instead of Jam or Otta, despite the day before thinking I sexually assaulted them, which is a little sus among us. The other thing is Benny brought me to a sex club without telling me it was a sex club. Now Otta and Jam say they told me while I was at Anthrocon because I asked if it was a sex club, but their story is just wildly inconsistent. First telling me it was a sex club, and then it was a bathhouse, and I should have just assumed sex happened. But also, if I talked about it at the Airbnb, why the fuck would I ask if it's a sex club at the con? And that's not even mentioning the only actual proof that exists at all is a DM I sent Benny saying, why didn't you tell me it was a sex club? And they say, we told you it was a nudity club. Sex. Not sex. Nudity. Also, last thing to note here, in Benny's terrible, god-awful, stupid, idiot thread, they tried to use me asking them to make out as, a legit cancellation point. I don't know what universe you live in where if a drunk person asks you to make out and you say no and they respect it, I don't know where that's even close to being cancelable. You said no, and I went, okay, I won't. What is bad about that? What, that I respected it? That I didn't make out with you? Is understanding consent now cancelable? Now, day 3, we woke up and went to the con. On our way to the con as we were riding in Otta's car, Benny and Jam talked about a rave and said I could go with. But Crystal asked to tag along, and Benny told them fuck no. Once again, Benny saying I can go and hang out with them, only this time they expressly told me yes, and told Crystal no. Now at Anthrocon, I hung with just Otta and Jam, Crystal went to the game room, and Benny went off to do their own thing. The three of us went to the dealer's den and checked stuff out, and Otta even bought a new fursuit. Later that night, when we went to the rave, we initially went to a room party, but that sucked ass, so we left. We were in the hotel room of one of Benny's friends named Timber, trying to find where the actual rave was, and dressing ourselves up in glow sticks. As we were sitting there, someone gave me the idea to do a Fursona tier list, and I said, maybe for the second channel. And to which Jam responded, yeah, maybe then I'll give a shit about your content. Nah, I was already dealing with a lot, and after hearing someone I thought was my friend say some shit like that to me, I kind of just broke. Before my flight home, I posted the Google Doc. It was the I really need a break one, but it had some more stuff added on. When I originally posted it, I sent it to Jam, and I assumed he'd read it. And I found out recently he didn't. He told me he didn't care. After Anthrocon, Jam, Benny, and everyone around them started acting weird towards me. Distant, less talkative. Then one day I was scrolling through Twitter, and I saw a tweet from Benny saying some really bad shit. I originally thought it was about Crystal until I tried talking to Jam. Then he told me to talk to Benny. When I tried talking to Benny, that was when I learned everything. They were going around saying I sexually assaulted them and that they told me no to sex multiple times, and I kept pushing them. Benny was trying to paint me as a rapist. Now, we've already gone over touching someone's knee is not sexual assault, but now they're saying that no equals later, which no, it doesn't. They're two wildly different things. Even though it was a vague tweet, people were asking Benny who they were talking about, to which Benny would tell them in DMs. Now, I tried to settle this in DMs, but Benny blocked me, so they're going around calling me a rapist and publicly vague tweeting about me, and then telling anyone who asks who they're vague tweeting about. Now, I, of course, went public about my experience with Crystal, as well as Benny calling me a rapist and the sex club thing, to which Ada messages me and tells me I'm acting childish. Then me, Ada, Jam's boyfriend Honk, and Jam all get in a call. It was unproductive and really didn't do much, and was more or less just the three of them trying to convince me I'm wrong and that touching someone's knee is sexual assault. I believe Honk even said verbatim they consented to sex, not you touching their knee, which is a wild sentence. But towards the end of the call, Honk convinced me to take down my thread, saying this could lead to Benny hurting himself, and then no one's happy. And this got Benny's family involved. Me, of course, not being the biggest piece of shit, took down my thread. To which Benny posted their thread full on blast, calling me a sexual assaulter. That's right. We have used someone potentially being suicidal as a way for me to delete my defense, which is kind of a dick move. We then had another call a day or two later. In that call, Ada, Benny, and Hong constantly had me muted and wouldn't let me speak, even letting Benny cut me off and allowing them to drone on for a long-ass time. As established, I was having mental problems, and even in this call, I was having a mental breakdown, to which they acknowledge I was having a manic episode in a later call. About 2 hours of me fighting with them, they eventually broke me down, they manipulated me, and got me to say I did wrong. That's not just my opinion, they full on say that. Now, obviously, I see I did nothing wrong, but I still believe these people weren't bad back then. I didn't think they would manipulate me, but the reality is, that's exactly what happened. The call ended, and I had a major manic episode. Now, after people saw Benny's thread calling me a sexual assaulter, and me not doing anything to defend myself because Ada and them told me not to, all these people just believed I was a sexual assaulter. Instantly, I had death threats and doxing threats, which didn't help my mental state. I tweeted out I was getting doxing threats, to which Ada DM'd me saying, saw your tweet, sorry that's happening, but when are you writing a statement? Now, when writing the statement, Ada initially wanted me to tweet out that I committed SA with imprudence to the consequences, which is just crazy. They eventually said, okay, well, you don't have to put sexual assault, but you can put sexual advances, and that you didn't do it maliciously. So, did I sexually assault someone without care for the consequences, or no, Ada? So I wrote this statement, and that's where it was going to be for a while. I was going to get therapy and see what a therapist says. And then people started coming after my family, and I'm not going to let that happen. So I immediately, I tried talking to people like Labrat, and Labrat told me, holy shit, like, this is insane that you're going through this. And then I started talking to more people, and then more people, and then more people, and then quite a lot of people. And all these people said nothing about this was sexual assault. And that's when I realized that I was getting manipulated by these people. I had a lengthy conversation with Ada. I didn't really do much. At one point, they sent me a huge thing about how could I think that she manipulated me. She's such a good friend. She drove all this way to see me. And then later on, I said I thought her making fun of my content out of nowhere was a dick move. And then she said I guilt-tripped her, which is kind of funny when you think about it. Now, one person who was initially supposed to help, well, I say initially, but I don't even think they were. We'll call them A. Now, partway through the video's planning and all that, A went out of their way to tell Ada what we were doing, because we wanted this video to be a surprise. We didn't want them to have time to prepare any response, because it's probably going to be bullshit. And this A person went behind our backs and told them all about this. They told them everything. Now, while you may think A's actions and going around and telling people that we were making a video would royally fuck us over, but in fact, it did the exact opposite. Telling Otta about this video then led to Otta messaging Lab and asking to call. This would then lead to my favorite part of the whole story, and the part of the story that disproves literally everything they've said. The Yap Sesh. While this is all damning, the story doesn't even end there. In fact, it gets funnier! So after everything that happened in that call, me being the awful, horrible person they claim I am, in my horribleness, I gave them an out! They did all of this, and I gave them a way out of this situation. At the end of the call, we kind of resolved our disdain for one another, and I told the three of them, I don't hate you, I have every right to, but I don't. At this time, I was still naively thinking they were either just dumb enough to believe Benny or were manipulated by Benny, just like how they manipulated me. So I gave them the perfect out, saying, I want to fix our friendship, and I want my life back. Otta and Jam said they would be my friends again, as long as I don't talk about drama to them, which isn't hard. You guys know I do stuff outside of that, right? Otta even said they would help me write the script for this video. Which didn't happen, by the way. But, hey, it's a happy ending, right? No, fuck you, of course not! Because 4 days later, they went from wanting to fix our friendship to all saying they don't like me and accusing me of more shit. The classic play-by-play. I have no idea how, but I went from Bill Nye back to Bill Cosby in 4 days. These people are that predictable. So, let's go through what each of them said. GM said he didn't like me for personal reasons, and then said he didn't care to retweet anything I did, and he had no obligation to publicly correct anything since everything he said and did was private.
Make your tweet, defend yourself, all that. I will 100% support it. I will retweet it if you need me to.
The video.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Again, I will support it as long as this is accurate.
Yes, because that's how that works. It doesn't matter what I do in private, because as long as I don't make it public, I have no moral obligation to fix anything I helped cause. It's just the scummiest shit I can think of. This guy was literally repeating lies and helping back up stories he had no idea was true. But hey, he never said it publicly, so that makes it okay. Even though 4 days prior he said he would. Honk went and said that I roped him into this whole thing and said they had so much proof and evidence to back it up. Well, I went back in our DMs, and the last thing me and Honk talked about before I made my thread was Honk saying they wanted to be uninvolved in the situation since I reached out for them to try and get me in contact with Jam. To which I apologized, and then we didn't talk about it further. In fact, the next time we talked was after they messaged me about this situation. Honk had multiple outs in the situation that I gave them, and they still continued to get involved. Hell, as I said earlier, even in this group chat, Honk wasn't intended to be in there, but they insisted themselves they wanted to be in the call and got Otta and Jam to add him in. That's your own fault, buddy. You had an out, and you kept running back in. But the last and funniest one was Otta's response. If you didn't believe Otta was a complete piece of shit before, you're gonna believe it now. Now, in the call we had, Lab made multiple jokes that Otta had a shit fetish. Now, to clarify, that's not real. As far as I know, Otta does not have a shit fetish. Otta has denied it, and Lab has said it was just a rumor she heard from someone. In the call, though, Lab made these jokes, but eventually she apologized for it, and Otta accepted the apology. Now, 4 days later, Otta is mad about it again, but she's not mad at Lab. Well, she's mad at me, because fuck you. You see, Otta claims that I must have leaked stuff to Lab, and that's the only way she could make such jokes. Now, this is hilarious for 2 reasons. Reason 1 is because, well, obviously I didn't. Reason 2, though, is because Otta did the same thing to me. Now, we'll circle back to reason 1 in a bit, but let's talk about reason 2 a little. Day 3 of Anthrocon, Otta and Jam were walking around the dealer's den before the fursuit parade. While we were walking around, Otta saw something and said, "Oh, a blank, you're into that, aren't you, Wolfgang?" Obviously not going to say what it was. I'd rather that stay private. Now, when I brought this up to Otta, she initially denied it. Then she changed her denial to say, even if I did do it, 2 wrongs don't make a right. She also asked why I didn't bring this up before, and that's because, well, why the fuck would it be relevant? I mean, yeah, you're kind of a cunt, but I already realized that. There's so much more shit that, like, you're subjectively awful for. But, you know, now it is relevant. But now let's circle back to reason 1. No, I didn't tell people behind the scenes that Ada had a shit fetish. Why would I do that? And when me and Jerry actually pushed Ada to prove it, she then changed her claim to, well, you didn't say it was bad. Which, in the call, I told Lab to stop, so clearly I did. But even in the call, you tell Lab you're not mad. And even when talking about it again, you said you weren't mad. So if you're not mad at Lab, why are you mad at me? It's like if someone is murdered, people are like, we're not mad at the murderer, we're mad at the parents for raising them wrong. After all that, though, Lab told Ada that she didn't hear this rumor from me, but that same A person told her. Did Ada ever acknowledge this? No, of course not. Even though her justification for why she would address doing the same thing to me was because she thought I did it to her. Well, 2 wrongs don't make a right, huh? Now, I mean, after this, I was finally fully aware of what these guys were doing. Up until that point, I still thought their actions were done out of ignorance or stupidity. But after that, it just became clear to me they were malicious and that this whole thing was just incredibly, like, just a malicious attack on me and my reputation. I mean, you can't do half the shit they've done and just get out of it. Like, you can't do that out of stupidity. They openly admitted to manipulating and gaslighting. Ada literally said verbatim she wanted to control what I said. These people are bad. They've had months to reflect. They've had multiple people tell them they were wrong, and they refused to acknowledge it. Hell, it took 2 months for Benny's thread calling me a sexual assaulter to be taken down. And you know, 15,000 people to view it first and think it's true. Also, by the way, the person at the gay club who gave me alcohol, Tyler, vague threatened me on Twitter. So, thanks for that. But, yeah, I think I've adequately debunked those claims of sexual assault or any of that. This video was a longer form of a TLDR thread on Twitter, which will be linked below. Go check out that thread and repost the shit out of it. I'm gonna get back to usual content, and I'm gonna be me. I'm still trying to get therapy. If it wasn't obvious for the past few months, I've been kind of fucked in the head. But no more. I'm going back to silly old Wolfgang. Anyway, join the Discord or you know, whatever. I'm not your dad. And I don't know. Later.